Hi everybody, greetings. Welcome once again to TFT Tarot for Today. And this is me, Oberon, with my outlook on the emotional exchanges, which is my weekly tarot forecast to give you a heads up on what the emotional situations in your life are, how to rejoice and be happy, how to be concerned for others, what may be challenging. It's all here in this weekly installment, which I divide up by the elemental associations of the Zodiac. So we do the air signs, the water signs, the fire signs, and so on. First, we start off with our collective thought for everyone for the week. And for that, I use the Isis Tarot. So I just grab a card at random. This is more of an oracle deck. And I'm just going to check that out. Look, Ma, no hands. I'm joined by my old friend here today. Okay, so what do we have? Oh, we have the swamp, number 27. However difficult our circumstances in life are, we should keep our heart and conscience pure. We should aim at the pure in every human being. Try to have more understanding in your surroundings. That's beautiful. Who would have thought the swamp would do that? But hey, there we are. So let's get started with our reading then. And as I mentioned before, we do this in terms of the elemental associations of the Zodiac. So first we're going to do the air signs. And air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So we're going to give them a word of the week to the additional part of their reading, specifically for them. I notice my table's a little shaky here today, so I hope I don't knock it around too much. Most of these cards were pre-shuffled, so I can just give them a little light one and hopefully get through. All right, air signs. What is that extra word of the week for you? And it's cooperation. Oh, that kind of goes along with our swamp idea, you know. Cooperation. So air signs, look for those opportunities to be cooperative, to find ways to cooperate, to encourage others to cooperate. Okay. So now for our regular reading. In case you're wondering, I'm up here in a different view or part of the esoteric library at TFT. Many camera angles are available. All right. So air signs, what emotional happiness will you find this week? You have the Tower upright. Air signs, you're going to find happiness because a crucial lesson is about to be learned, a very crucial lesson. It may have a big impact for you, but it may have more of an impact for your overall happiness as indicated by the position. The important point to consider really is this involves the learning of a lesson that has some grave consequences, but not so grave that it is impossible to grasp that magnitude. My speculation could be that maybe air signs have really been a part of a bad emotional situation between partners or extreme close emotional situations, and there may have been some pride goeth before a fall here. I'm just going to have to say that. So watch out for that. Now, what will be challenging then, considering that, for the air signs? And it's the reversed King of Swords. And I guess it would be challenging because any forward movement towards certain projects or undertakings, especially if they're establishing relationships in a more structured setting, a job or situation where maybe you can't just say, I'm leaving you because you have to be there. It's more vocational. This is saying that going ahead with that is going to be very challenging in this week. And so it may be that what these lessons that are affecting us emotionally, or this big change or downfall, is maybe more concerned to more professional direct relationships. I mean, I still wouldn't rule out it could be the family, because you can't really get away from your family either in most situations. But I just sort of feel the swords connote something that's just a little bit more structured. Maybe, families have more give than, your workplace might. Anyways, with all that, what will concern your closest relationships the most then in this next week, whether they're co-workers, spouses, children, that kind of thing? And it's the Seven of Discs or Pentacles. It's upright. And so I'm feeling that this card seems to suggest that others are unsure, and maybe others feel there's progress for them or for this situation, but maybe they are also standing apart a little bit. And so maybe a number of people are playing kind of a waiting game here, a looking game. They're looking at the possibility maybe of some pretty stale returns on the investment, so to speak. Just like nothing productive at all. So it may be that you're the one who has to encourage more of this, interaction, but it really does seem to kind of fall from each other. And maybe that's why cooperation is there, is because really, if you work your hardest at cooperation this week, you may be able to ride this tide of pride shakeups and direction being sort of harder to follow through with, and others wanting something but not really knowing how to move forward too. So it's a real mixed bag for the air signs, and it mostly seems kind of difficult. I'm going to just say that. So hang in there, air signs. So then we're going to move on now to our fire signs. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And so they have also the word of the week. And their word of the week is meditation. And so it's not completely unlike cooperation, only this is maybe cooperation with yourself, with your mind. In meditation, what we mostly try to do, depending on your regime with meditation, is to let the mind be still, to not hear all the voices in your mind, and then to maybe be able to focus on or introspect on one particular more pure thought. Regardless, meditation for the fire signs really means that you have thinking to do, you have calming to do, you have ways of trying to understand yourself and your role and where you can advance more. So let's get to the regular part of the reading then, the rest of the reading as it were. And Mr. O, he really meant to look at the astrology for the week, because he notices that people sort of like that when Banshee mentions that on her show. Shameless plug, Banshee's Material Matters, Sundays at 10 a.m. So I'll try to do that next week, because I think it's also, as somebody who has some ability to interpret, I also think it's important to kind of add those aspects too. I sort of think tarot has a bit of astrology in it in its own way. So at any rate, what will be surprising, what will be emotionally pleasant or happiness for the fire signs this week? And it's the Nine of Swords. And I'm thinking that the Nine of Swords is showing us that maybe a particular situation that was troublesome and we really didn't want to be there because it didn't affect us as directly as it affected somebody else, but maybe there is a family connection or there's some sort of connection there. But maybe now we're finding that what will make us happy is that we can move away from that. Maybe the healing that needed to happen, however it occurred, whether you helped others or whether they figured it out for themselves, did in fact occur. If not that, it could also be saying that really, there I go bumping the table, if there's a certain level of meditation that occurred this week, maybe the meditation said, this is not really something I can keep doing to myself. I really have to move beyond this pain or anguish, especially if it's really not for me. It's not that I don't want to feel supportive of people, but I can't let it wear me down too. I have to be strong for what else is going on in my life. Okay, so now what will be challenging for this week then for the fire signs? And it's the Three of Wands reversed. And I think what is challenging is maybe the sense that with us moving away meditatively or otherwise from the pain or others' pain or anguish that we can't really help with, there may also be a sense too that we may have missed some opportunities, that some other things that maybe we ourselves are waiting or hoping to happen are delayed now, or that maybe their actual implementation or progress is kind of messed up and we don't know for sure if they're going to be delayed or if we're going to have to start something different. So that's what's challenging really, is maybe looking if there's anything you can salvage there, because this represents something that you really care about. And so I'm wondering too if the connection between these two cards is that the person who maybe you can't quite help emotionally, maybe you're also losing them too in your life, or maybe their influence is also going to change because of this, and maybe you have to figure out if it's worth emotionally for you, this person having that or not. It really depends on how close this relationship is, how meaningful it is to you. But I do feel that these cards strongly talk about relationships that have had some serious problems, and that you maybe don't know really how you can help them out, what you can do to help them, because it's not exactly your emotional problem. Okay, so then finally, what will concern the others around us, maybe those people that are affected there the most? What will affect them? What is emotionally unpleasant or good for them? And it's the Three of Swords though, and you know what? I'm seeing two threes here. I'm looking at the whole thing. I'm actually wondering if some of the fire signs really are having a real tug in emotions. This is representing really some sort of split. That Three of Swords could be saying, understanding and accepting the pain of your heart, and the fact that maybe it is a parting. Maybe there is something that has been really rent emotionally. And I'm not really sure what your role is, other than to maybe consider that you do have to start over. So it sounds pretty dramatic. I think it's a week of caution for meditation to really try to understand and relate to every aspect of this intense emotional situation around you, fire signs. It may be that you have your own problems right now, some of you fire signs, and so you just can't really be involved in other people's problems without necessarily due cause. This may be that extreme, that maybe there's something that will really rock your world or the world of those you love. So hang in there and hope for the best. I am at a loss to really say anything other than the meditation aspects of what this means is really what will help you, get through the hard time. So let's move on now, and we're going to move on to the water signs. Water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. This one is for you, as someone I know says. And your word of the week is the Fool, or the first card, the Zero card, however you want to look at that. And it's the idea of maybe uh, a balance between impulse and folly, but ultimately that sort of has the feeling that you have luck with you. You have the improbability of being charmed in certain ways, that maybe you are able to kind of float above the tides, water signs. Whoa, that one almost floated away from me. Considering what happened with air and fire signs this week, maybe the water signs are going to be more of the healers of all the emotional, renting that's going on. So I don't know, I can see that potential in water signs, but I could also see other potentials too. Let's see what we got. Water signs. What emotional happiness will you find this week? You have the Seven of Discs in this position. This time it's reversed. So I think for the water signs, it's the reversal of what it was for the fire signs. It's kind of saying that what is emotionally happy for you is that you will find a way to move ahead and bring things back or bring things into another season, as it were, maybe bringing love. I mean, I think that the Seven of Pentacles in this position could be a metaphor for love, could be the idea that what will burst forth, what will be tended, the garden that will now be tended could be the garden of love. And so that makes you happy because maybe you're looking at all the other signs of people around you. Some are similar to yours, some are not. And what you could be doing by trying to help spread a little love to all those people who probably really need some extra help right now. So then, with all of that good vibe on your side, what will be challenging to you? And of course, you have the King of Swords. And I guess this is saying that maybe you are making a strong decision from a point of your emotions, but maybe also from a point about your emotions. There's something you feel really strongly about, loving about. This decision that's coming could be an advancement of whatever it is you love the most, whether it's another person or whether it's children, more abstract things, loving the world, like the first card is kind of telling us. That's what's challenging to you, is taking that reign of power, that like somehow an opportunity comes to you and somebody says, do you want to strongly bring the qualities here into a life? And you say yes. You are challenged by the idea of being a force for good, of deciding and bringing beneficence to people's lives. So then finally, what will emotionally affect or be a situation for others in your life who are loved? Maybe they're your platonic friends, your closer friends, your lovers, your parents or children. And we have our Tower again, only this time it is reversed. And so I'm thinking that it's kind of like what I said at the beginning. What affects others around you is just, there is a sense really of some bad mojo going on in people's lives. There are bad decisions. There are bad escapades where people did things that they really should have known. They should have known they weren't going to have a chance of avoiding the karma there. That's the Tower reversed. You have to bring more love, compassion, and understanding. You can't necessarily love them because of maybe something really bad they did, but you can try to be truly compassionate and sympathetic towards their misdeeds, and maybe give them the encouragement to look for where that lesson still is for them. So that's what I have for the water signs. You are just guided by this innate explorability, taking a risk, willing to dive deep, water signs, and that is kind of the water signs' nature. And you really want, to make love flourish for everyone. That's your cosmic mission this week, to boldly go, with the sword and right the wrongs, help people decide things, make the decisions that help bring these forces of love back, and also that help you understand where others really are having a hard time and how you can help show them what those lessons are for them. All right, water signs. So now we're going to move on to the earth signs. Earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Your word of the week. Premonition. So, earth signs, you're going to feel your psychic groove a little bit more than normal, maybe. And, most of us are a little bit intuitive. We really all are. I think water signs, I often say we're the most intuitive, but I think we all have a little bit of water sign in us. We all have a little bit of an air sign in us. And so I'm just saying, earth signs, you're going to feel those tingles maybe that are telling you, maybe you feel something's about to happen. Maybe you sense something. This will probably serve you instead. And it could also mean something that's less lofty-minded. It could just be saying that the premonition that comes to you is literally a statement of fact, that something comes to your attention. Maybe it's at your work, maybe it's in whatever situations you are in, and that is a fact that is going to happen, that it is representing the truth that maybe cannot necessarily be avoided. So that's what that means. Think about this week and try to do the right thing and work with what the decision may have to be. So now let's get on with the rest of our reading. What will bring the earth signs happiness this week? And we have the Two of Swords reversed. And Two of Swords is reversed because I think what that's saying is that we're happy because we have just moved out of a little bit of a limitation, boundary, restriction kind of situation. Maybe we were being asked to hold back full participation, full judgment on something that we were either more observing, but maybe also a little bit involved in too. And this card is saying that what makes us happy now is that we now realize that we can move beyond that limitation. We can kind of try to bring the progress back. I'm thinking this was something emotional, so maybe it was a weight over moving ahead with an emotional related question, whether it was pursuing an object of amour, or whether it was just trying to do the right thing for somebody you care about, but maybe there was a stricture there. You now sort of feel you can move beyond that. So then what will be challenging or surprising to you this week? And it's the Ace of Wands. And I think this is saying that somehow a new venture is about to open up. And I'm thinking it's something you really are looking forward to. You may know what it's about. It's not like it's a total surprise. I get the feeling like it's an opportunity you've been waiting for. It advances your personality, but also a sense of your personal magnetism, your ability to sort of hold your own with equals, or to network, or to be on the same platform with who you're trying to reach. So I think you're challenged because this is something you've been waiting for, and now it's going to happen. So maybe you're just a little bit not quite as prepared, but it really has a momentum that's going to pull you along. So it's good stuff. And then finally, what will concern others around you? And I think others around you are on a pretty good emotional keel. The Queen of Cups is upright. And I think that this is saying that all of those folks you care for, whether they're your husband or wife or your children, your boss, other coworkers, other relatives, cousins, whoever they are, somebody like that who maybe you have a particular vibe with right now, that you have the most to do with, the people you do care the most about, they're really balanced. And despite anything else that's going on with this or with the other stuff going on, particularly air or fire signs, those closest to you, maybe there are other water signs. Sometimes the Queen of Cups sort of represents some of the water signs, but the balance is there, and it's a good thing for the most part. There's calming. These are the kind of people you can go to when you're the one that needs some comforting. And I think that that's what it is too, that maybe this card is also saying those around you who really care want you to feel you can come to them for comfort. So let's look at that again very briefly and tell you that I think that we know what's happening. We're just going to know. Our eyes are open and we know what it is we have to do. We are ready to be happy because we have broken out of some of the strictures or limitations, and we can now move forward with plans. And maybe those plans involve really finding our purpose, the challenge of finding our purpose, finding the vantage point, finding the way to magnificate our charisma, our charm, and our ability to be kind and work with people. And then finally, I think too that those around us want us to know they can be of comfort to us. So that's what I have for the earth signs, and that's what I have for Oberon's outlook on the emotional exchanges. Just remind you to watch some of our other programming, including our regular live chats, which are on YouTube on Thursdays and Sundays. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.